My name is Kristen Guiterrez, and I'm with the LCM Heroin and Awareness and Support Foundation. I've lived in this area my entire life, and I have a vested interest in this community. I'd like to thank Amara Barnes for allowing us to speak today, and I applaud the Shining Light and Corpus Christi Church for acknowledging that there is a heroin epidemic in the neighborhood, and that and being ashamed of it only allows for it to continue. So we need to live in the truth and speak about it and educate our communities in the fact that it's here. Heroin entered my life in 2010 when I found out both my brothers, Louie and Vinny, were using heroin. At first, it was like an out-of-body experience. I was like, really? That's so terrible. I felt so bad for my dad, for my stepmom. I felt so sorry for them, but I was ignorant. I was ignorant to heroin's power. The devastation it causes, and the role it will forever play in my life. You may think you know drugs, but heroin is different. After 2 years after knowing that my brothers were using, the horrific things that were going on in the house, the 2 rehab attempts, we were desperate. My dad called me in to help because Louie stopped leaving his room. He only left to get his poison. After an excruciating intervention, I was able to talk Louie into a 14-month rehab, but he was taken over by false confidence and he checked himself out after 4 months. He died of an overdose 4 weeks later on August 7th, 2012, at the age of 24. The LTM Foundation was established by my family in the wake of his 2012 death. Our hope is to reach teens and young adults before heroin does. We want to use the power of education to shine a light on this evil drug, heroin. So please like us on Facebook and stay connected and keep spreading the word by donating on ltmfoundation.org. Heroin addicts didn't wake up one day and say, hey, let me try that heroin everyone is talking about. It usually starts with a prescription opiate drug abuse. Then, when it gets too hard or too expensive to get, they resort to heroin for a cheaper, easier high. Prescription drug abuse is the gateway to heroin, especially OxyContin. Once graduated to heroin, there's a period in the beginning where most people drift in and out of use. This is heroin romancing you. The pattern might be something like this. This is something I do on Saturday. Then this is something I do on Sunday. Then I'll add Friday to the mix. And then Thursday for a 4-day weekend. And then, before you know it, it slips into full-blown addiction. There are also people who have tried heroin and felt instantly, this is the drug I've been waiting for. But acquiring it on a regular basis initially makes it tougher to jump right into regular use, but it's not impossible. The same thing with pills, actually. If you can only get them hit or miss, you'll probably be dabbling at the beginning until you found a steady source. But if you have a family member or a friend with a ready supply, then you'll progress to addiction much quicker. And when that source runs out, many resort to heroin again because it's cheaper and easier to get. It is imperative that you clean out your medicine cabinets. Most heroin addictions start in the medicine cabinet. So snorting $10 a day quickly increases to injecting $150 a day just to get to the same high. Your daily focus becomes, how do I get money for heroin and how can I get heroin? That is it. You become a slave, you die, or you dedicate yourself to recovery. Heroin has no boundaries. No one is safe. The image of an addict, homeless in an inner city black alley is gone. Today's heroin addicts are young adults. They come from nice neighborhoods and good families. Louis lived in a beautiful house in Medina. He was privileged. He had a bright future, and heroin stole it away. Heroin is the most addictive and dangerous of all drugs. Once you try it, your body craves it, and it steals your soul, and you're lucky to get out alive. So when do you know that you're addicted? When you hit a point of physical dependency or even a behavioral reliance and you feel you have no choice in the matter. This is addiction. In abuse, you have bad judgment, but you have normal brain chemistry. You still are in control of your life, and as consequences develop, you are likely to stop. In addiction, it's a disease. You have abnormal brain chemistry. You completely lose control of your life, and as consequences pile up, you don't stop. You can't. Heroin addiction is not a simple matter of choice. It is a disease. And like any other chronic diseases, without treatment and consistent engagement in recovery activities, this addiction is progressive and will result in disability or premature death. The receptors in the brains are genetically coded to crave heroin because it hijacks your prefrontal cortex. That's where your judgment, your decision making is made. Withdrawal from heroin is frightening and painful. Going to rehab and following the treatment team's advice and their recommendations can save your life. Addiction is a persistent disease that requires constant vigilance to sustain recovery. Active recovery includes abstinence from all mood-altering chemicals like alcohol, marijuana, or any other narcotic or opiate. So the days of going to Buffalo Wild Wings with your friends and having a few beers and wings is over. You can't go to a club with your girlfriends because you resort back to heroin. You need to have complete abstinence. Lulu was one of the 43 people in DuPage County who died of heroin overdose in 2012. The 2013 DuPage County death toll is hitting a record pace at one death every 8 days. State's Attorney Bob Berlin warns, we have a heroin epidemic in this county, and these are sobering facts. But my brother was more than just a number. He was a beautiful person. He had his whole life in front of him, and heroin stole it away. When he went to his last rehab teen challenge, he found a deep relationship with God, and we are so thankful for that. He was feeling so good about himself. He just wanted to go home and leave a normal life. But he started to slip into his own behaviors again. He started drinking on weekends, and he started smoking pot. It only took 4 weeks for heroin to slither back into his life and take him away. It saw he was weak and it attacked. You can't, as a recovering addict, you can't just pick up where you left off. Living in recovery is your new normal. Going to NA meetings, having a sponsor, and abstaining from all mood-altering chemicals. This will allow you to live. So be bold, stand up to heroin. Being ashamed and afraid allows heroin epidemic to continue. It thrives in the shadows. Heroin is a scrounge. It takes and uses you for everything that you have and gives you nothing back in return. Heroin will destroy your family. It will destroy you. It will make you lie, steal. It will abandon all your morals. The reality is, if you use heroin, You will die prematurely or you will dedicate yourself to recovery. Both of these outcomes have a price to pay for you and your family. They'll pay in despair, they'll pay in fear, loss, and money. My family has both crosses to bear. Louis will never come back, he is forever gone. My brother's rehab cost his parents tens of thousands of dollars. This is what heroin brings to the table. I thank God that Vinny's fighting every day and is dedicating himself to recovery in Philadelphia. By the grace of God. If heroin crosses your path, run like hell and don't look back. Students, don't try heroin. It will destroy you and will destroy your family. Parents, please start the ongoing conversation. Heroin is not worth your life.